There comes a moment in life when you realize something painful. The people you love the most may never fully understand the vision inside your mind. And that truth breaks people. Because deep down, most people are not chasing dreams. They are chasing approval. They want their family to clap first, to believe first, to support first. But what happens when they don't? What happens when your goals sound unrealistic to the people who raised you? What happens when your ambition makes others uncomfortable? What happens when every step forward is met with doubt, silence, or criticism? This is where most people quit. Not because they lack talent, not because they lack intelligence, but because they cannot survive emotional resistance from the people closest to them. Understand this clearly. Your family's job is not always to understand your future. Most families are built to protect you from risk, not prepare you for greatness. And if you keep waiting for emotional permission to become who you're meant to be, you will waste years standing still. Some dreams are born in isolation. Some missions require loneliness. Some transformations begin the moment you stop begging for validation. Because the truth is brutal. The world does not reward potential. It rewards execution. And nobody is coming to rescue your purpose. This speech is for the people who feel misunderstood, unsupported, and emotionally exhausted from carrying a vision nobody else can see yet. Today, you stop waiting. Today, you stop explaining. Today, you start building. Because your future cannot depend on other people's belief systems. The hardest thing for many parents is not seeing their child fail. It's seeing their child become someone they no longer recognize. Parents spend years building a sense of safety around their children. They teach stability, caution, and predictability because in their minds, survival matters more than ambition. So, when a son or daughter begins chasing something uncertain, something bigger than the family has ever seen before, it creates fear, not hatred, not lack of love. Fear. Because growth changes identity, and identity changes relationships. The child starts thinking differently, speaking differently, dreaming differently, and suddenly the family feels the distance before success has even arrived. The painful reality is that many parents confuse protection with preparation. They believe they are keeping their children safe by questioning every risk, criticizing every unusual decision, and warning them about failure before they even begin. But from the child's perspective, repeated doubt feels like emotional rejection. The offspring starts carrying two battles at once: the pressure of building a future and the guilt of disappointing the people they love most. And when emotional support disappears, many young people slowly shrink their goals just to keep the peace inside the family. One of the deepest psychological needs in every child is the desire to make their parents proud. From childhood, approval becomes emotional oxygen. A smile from a parent feels like success, and disappointment feels like failure. So when young people begin chasing meaningful goals, many unconsciously believe their path must first be accepted at home before it can be pursued in the world. But destiny does not always arrive in forms that parents understand. Parents often measure security through experience, while offspring measure purpose through possibility. This creates internal conflict where the child starts delaying growth, abandoning ambition, or questioning their calling simply because the people closest to them cannot yet see the vision clearly. The dangerous part is not criticism itself. It is the emotional dependence created by it. When children grow up needing constant reassurance from family, they slowly lose the ability to trust their own instincts. Every decision becomes filtered through fear of judgment instead of alignment with purpose. Parents may believe they are guiding with wisdom, but excessive control often teaches hesitation instead of confidence. And over time, the offspring begins living a life designed to avoid family disappointment rather than fulfill personal potential. Every parent wants certainty before they believe in a dream. They want proof, stability, guarantees, and visible results because their instincts are shaped by responsibility. But big dreams never begin with evidence. They begin with imagination, obsession, and a vision that usually makes no logical sense to the people watching from the outside. So, when a child speaks about building something extraordinary, parents often react with skepticism, not because they want to destroy the dream, but because uncertainty feels dangerous to them. From the offspring's perspective, this response can feel deeply isolating. The child starts questioning whether ambition is wisdom or selfishness, whether their vision is meaningful or simply unrealistic. The emotional tension becomes heavier when the offspring is still searching for identity. Young people naturally look toward parents for emotional direction, and when support is replaced with doubt, confidence begins collapsing internally. Parents may think they are helping their children stay realistic, but repeated disbelief can slowly train the child to fear bold thinking altogether. Instead of developing courage, they begin shrinking ideas to fit what feels acceptable at home. And because every groundbreaking path looks unstable in the beginning, many children abandon their deepest goals long before they ever have the chance to become real. The moment a child no longer depends on approval, their entire psychology begins to change. For years, many offspring are conditioned to connect self-worth with acceptance from family. Every choice is influenced by the fear of disappointing parents, being misunderstood, or losing emotional connection. But once they stop needing constant validation, something powerful happens. They begin acting from conviction instead of permission. From a parent's perspective, this shift can feel uncomfortable because the child becomes harder to control through fear, guilt, or emotional pressure. The offspring starts trusting internal purpose more than external opinions, and that independence often looks rebellious to families who are used to obedience. The real transformation happens when emotional freedom replaces emotional dependence. Parents may still love deeply, but they can struggle when their children stop organizing life around family expectations. A son or daughter who no longer seeks approval begins taking risks, making bold decisions, and accepting failure as part of growth rather than something to avoid for the sake of family image. This mindset creates resilience because the child is no longer emotionally paralyzed by criticism. Instead of constantly explaining themselves, they begin building quietly, moving with clarity that does not require permission from anyone around them. The most painful part of transformation is not failure. It is feeling emotionally alone while you are changing. When a child begins outgrowing old habits, old thinking, and old limitations, the family dynamic often shifts without anyone realizing it. Parents may still love their children deeply, but love does not always translate into understanding. From a parent's perspective, the child suddenly becomes distant, harder to relate to, less obedient, and emotionally unavailable. What parents often interpret as rebellion is sometimes the offspring fighting to protect a vision that nobody around them can yet understand. Growth creates separation because transformation changes priorities, routines, conversations, and identity long before it changes visible results. The psychological burden on the offspring becomes heavy because human beings naturally crave belonging. Children are emotionally wired to seek connection, reassurance, and approval from family, especially during uncertain seasons of life. So, when support becomes conditional, silence becomes louder than criticism. Many young people begin questioning themselves not because the dream is wrong, but because isolation creates emotional exhaustion. Parents may believe they are helping by encouraging caution and stability, yet constant doubt can unintentionally make the child feel emotionally unsafe inside their own home. The offspring then learns to hide ambitions, suppress ideas, and carry pressure privately because loneliness feels easier than constant misunderstanding. The reality most young people struggle to accept is that families often believe results more than potential. Parents are naturally conditioned to trust what they can see, measure, and understand. Their love is real, but their confidence usually grows from evidence, not imagination. So, when a child talks about a dream with no visible proof, parents often respond with caution instead of excitement. From the offspring's perspective, this feels deeply discouraging because they expect emotional support during the phase when nothing has worked yet. But psychologically, most parents are trying to protect their children from pain, failure, instability, and disappointment based on their own life experiences and fears. The dangerous mistake many offspring make is waiting for family validation before taking action. They delay execution because they hope one day everyone around them will finally understand the vision first. But support rarely comes at the beginning. In most families, belief appears only after visible progress removes uncertainty. Parents who once questioned the path suddenly become supportive once results create emotional safety for them. The child then realizes something important. People often need proof before they offer trust. This is why emotionally strong offspring learn to separate purpose from approval. They stop wasting energy trying to convince everyone around them and start focusing on discipline, consistency, and quiet progress instead. The psychological shift becomes powerful when the offspring understands that early resistance is not always rejection. Parents may criticize risky decisions because uncertainty activates fear inside them, especially when they feel responsible for protecting their child's future. But children who continue building despite the absence of support develop emotional endurance. They learn how to trust their own judgment, survive temporary loneliness, and remain committed even when nobody applauds the effort. And over time, the same family that once doubted the journey often becomes proud of the very results they once feared pursuing.